This afternoon.
Good news from Seattle, where a Great Falls toddler is released from the hospital today after suffering severe abuse last weekend. Mason Paul Evans is almost 2 years old. We're told he has a broken leg and bruises from head to toe, but he's healing very well. His grandmother tells MTN the boy will continue his recovery with his father in St. Ignatius outside of Missoula. Mason's mother and her boyfriend appeared in Cascade County Court earlier this week. Alexis Paul is charged with negligent endangerment for not getting her son medical treatment earlier. Paul's boyfriend, Riley Charlo Whitworth, faces 4 charges for his alleged abuse of the boy. He reportedly told police he hit the child and threw him against a wall when he would not stop crying.
The Zindell rape trial appears to be wrapping up tonight. The prosecution finished calling witnesses to the stand this afternoon, and the defense started pleading its case. Witnesses such as Zindell's brother, former co-workers, and exes all testified on his behalf, though the prosecution asserts that Zindell's story is inconsistent with what he had told a variety of people close to him. Closing arguments were passionate and reminded the jury of the severity of the allegations.
He abused their friendship. He abused her trust. He abused her vulnerability. He abused her generosity. And he violently and cruelly abused her body.
The jury has begun final deliberations and they're expected to reach a verdict by the end of the week. We will keep you updated on air and online at KRTV.com.
45 soldiers with the Montana Army National Guard return home today after a year in Afghanistan. The soldiers from the 189th General Support Aviation Brigade deployed in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. As soon as the soldiers touched down on Montana soil, they were welcomed with a joyous and emotional homecoming.
It's a year long of ridiculousness, and now I'm home with my family and my wife. It's the greatest feeling I've ever had.
I don't know. I've been so excited. I don't know how to explain it, actually. It's been crazy.
He's going to go spend some time with his wife. Tomorrow we have a family dinner, and we still have our Christmas tree up. So we're going to have Christmas.
The 189th, which also includes soldiers from Nevada, maintained and flew CH-47 Chinook aircraft.
After spending almost a month in a Helena rehab center, a poisoned bald eagle is released back into her natural habitat.
Our own Beth Beachy witnessed the homecoming near Vaughn and spoke with those who made this bird's recovery a possibility.
Back in early January, Miriam Walters and a friend were walking their dogs on her property and they noticed a bald eagle. Walters is no stranger to these regal birds on her land, but this one was different.
But then she did start to try to walk, and she had a pretty difficult time walking and obviously didn't fly away, so we knew something was wrong.
U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services picked her up from Vaughn. She was then transported to a Fish, Wildlife and Parks rehab center in Helena. They didn't see any physical injuries to the bird, so they performed a routine blood check and received astonishing results.
The lead levels are in micrograms per deciliter, and hers were off the scale even when I diluted the blood.
FWP used a technique called chelation therapy, where the kidneys can filter out the toxins. And after 3.5 weeks of treatment, this eagle was able to be released back into its natural habitat right around breeding season.
There's a good chance that she already has a territory here, she already has a mate here, so she shouldn't have to fight those battles over again.
Rodine says bald eagles can oftentimes mate for life, so while it's uncertain whether this bird had a mate, getting her back out into the wild was a goal they wanted to achieve. And after seeing this one back in her element, it left everyone feeling happy she was able to make a comeback.
She definitely made a pretty amazing recovery. Most birds that have lead poisoning as badly as she did, they don't make it. So it is pretty neat to think that she's flying around out here again.
In Vaughn, Beth Beachy, MTN News.
FWP and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service both say it's important to be mindful of the elements that humans can put into the environment and how they impact surrounding wildlife.
Governor Steve Bullock will address a joint session of the legislature this evening.
MTN's political reporter Marnie Banks joins us from the Capitol with a look at what we can likely expect from that State of the State speech.
In just a few hours, the Montana House of Representatives will be packed full of state officials as Governor Steve Bullock delivers his State of the State address.
Both the House and the Senate will come together and hear Bullock's plan for putting Montanans first. Since he is speaking to a legislature controlled by Republicans, Bullock is expected to make an appeal to the other side of the aisle.
If he wants to accomplish anything, he's got to find some common ground. He's got to pick off a coalition of Republican legislators that could help him. So he's going to try to reach out, and I think part of the way he reaches out is talking about this property tax relief.
Bullock is proposing to give every homeowner in Montana a property tax rebate of $400.
He says, look, I'll give property tax relief, but you're going to have to help on these other issues that are important.
Republicans will be looking for plans that reduce spending and cut taxes, while Democrats will be waiting to hear about issues like Medicaid expansion, education funding, and pay raises for state employees.
Well, without a doubt, I think one of the things he's got to bring up is the pay issue. I think he is going to bring up the pay issue. He talked a lot about it in the campaign. And frankly, one of the things that was critical for Democrats in the state of Montana, but also nationally, was labor union assistance to win elections. That was definitely true here in Montana. So certainly these groups that helped in the election are going to be asking for their items, and one of those big items really is pay.
If his budget is any indicator of what Bullock will talk about, he will likely focus on jobs and economic development.
We will be bringing you full coverage of Bullock's speech tonight and also response from Republican lawmakers. So be sure to tune in tonight at 10.
You can watch the State of the State live on our website, KRTV.com. That again starts at 7 p.m.
Well, snow is falling across north central Montana this afternoon. Mike is tracking it now and joins us with his first forecast.
Tim and Katie, we are tracking the snow. It has been coming down in many areas just to the east of I-15 for much of the day, but now starting to pick up in Great Falls. What we've got going on here is this northwesterly flow and just this band of persistent snow that's diving south toward the Little Belt Mountains, and that's where we actually have the heaviest of the snow occurring, along with winter storm warnings. You see the winter storm warning in effect there, not for Great Falls, but for Cascade County, Judith Basin County down to Marr County. That's the Little Belt Mountains, 3 to 6 inches of snow there. Winter weather advisories for the rest of the area where 1 to 3 inches of snow will fall. And check out the picture here from Kathy Rice and Big Sandy sending us a photo of the snow falling. It has been flying all afternoon, and you can send us your photos to our email, Facebook, or Twitter account. Also upload them to KRTV.com. How much snow will fall where you live? Coming up in Storm Tracker weather.